The war has arrived. This movie is often considered the worst in the series, but we personally love it. This film wraps up the trilogy in a full circle kind of way and includes lots and lots of action. We decided to change the video theme because of its ratings from the majority of fans and critics' reviews. So allow us to show you why to contemplate giving the movie a second chance. But for those who already love this third film, like we do, leave your comments below because we only scratched the surface in this video. Let's go ahead and kick our way through the spoilers.
Gotcha!
Let's slightly mention why many disliked this film. Many felt the script was weak, because it was weak and missed a human touch, and even the emotional charge to begin with, and was starting to grow. Rather, people felt the movie was cold and over-technological. The first Matrix is heavily involved with the concept of the rabbit hole theme, and soon dwindled in the second film. Because of this, the mystery seemed to decline and felt the ending just kind of dropped. We can see where these points come from, but we as a viewer have to look deeper into the overall theme of The Matrix. Isn't The Matrix literally about layers of curiosity? The rabbit hole, although a thoroughly enjoyable concept, slowly went to the back burner. But that doesn't mean it still wasn't maintained. The whole idea of the rabbit hole is about illusions. The entire makeup of the Matrix and their internal activities is all illusion. Even though it was never continuously hinted at or little pieces dropped relating to Alice, doesn't mean its sole purpose is still not involving with the core of the story. As these movies progressed, we grew with the theme to understand these so-called layers of the Matrix. But the primary characters still continued with their storylines, and technically, arcs were maintained. Honestly, the scripts were far from weak. Look at Trinity. We get what seems like the most lines from her as of yet. We just didn't get a dramatic monologue. Did people forget that we are literally at war with the machines? Love stories can't completely grow during that. But that doesn't mean we still didn't sense the interactions of love without actually seeing makeout sessions on the screen. We have Neo with Trinity, clearly sticking close together and searching for each other. Z is waiting for Link to return home, and they literally fight the machines to see if the other is still alive. We also can't forget the hinted romance of Morpheus with Niobe. Since this movie literally takes place within hours after leaving the second film, we as viewers are crunched in time. Literally less than 24 hours takes place before the possible destruction of Zion. Because we have such a short time frame, it does seem a little rushed, but still well flowed as a story. We still get the characters and their development, which we as a viewer are most concerned about. Morpheus ended the second movie speechless and felt lost from his path, but still stays completely loyal to the belief in the One. We expect to see him contemplating and even has the right to lose trust in the Oracle.
After everything that has happened, how can you expect me to believe you?
Let's not forget Neo. Neo in the real world tried to use powers normally utilized in the Matrix against the machines, and overdid it, which led him to his coma-like state. It makes sense to be lost in yourself, but in this case, a train locking out the access of returning to either world due to programming. I think many were just confused by this concept because it was thrown into our face within 5 minutes of the movie starting. But we never had to wait long to see or find out where our primary characters are. To be honest, the mystery of the Matrix is not lost. It is simply explored in other levels of deeper thoughts. Let's go ahead and talk about that one person many people did not like in this film. Many were shocked by the appearance of the Oracle. The movie handled it well by saying her helping Neo cost herself. But in reality, the original actress had passed away. The Oracle is placed in the beginning and the end of this movie, which seems fitting for the situation she has brought us in. She continues with the explanation of choice. She guides Morpheus and Trinity to the Train Man, who is a program holding Neo captive. The Train Man is also under the control of the Merovingian. If they do not act quickly, the Merovingian can easily mess up their choices for saving Neo. Shortly after being rescued, Neo meets with the Oracle himself, and she gives him more food for thought on choices.
Karma is a word, like love, a way of saying what I am here to do. I do not resent my karma. I'm grateful for it.
I really want to touch on the train station that Neo gets trapped in while in a coma-like state. Technically, when Neo is trying to escape while alone and he returns to the same spot, it is supposed to symbolize purgatory. He is locked or trapped in an eternal loop until he's allowed to leave by the Merovingian. Trinity made a deal for his life to leave. It's such an interesting idea, right? I guess it is inevitable that we have to talk about the jerk of the movie, and I'm not just meaning Roland.
This is asinine. If you want to kill yourself, go do it, but do it without wasting one of our ships.
Commander Locke, he continues to grace us with his douchey personality. He continues to have little faith in the returning of Morpheus or even the belief of the One. But we have to understand his assignment is duty and an accountability of protecting the human race. That is his primary responsibility. He takes plans seriously when he informs the counselor,
If it were up to me, counselor, I take every man, woman, and child, put a gun in their hand, and march them straight into that dock.
Now, as much as this statement is not a proper response, we continue to see his need to protect. We see his true thoughts about the Nebuchadnezzar's ship and the lack of trust he has in the moment of drawing so close to the Sentinels. We see him acting as a realist. The possible end of Zion is very real and very possible.
But we can hope. I'm afraid hope is an indulgence I don't have time for.
For how much this franchise relies on choices, and it continues to do so in this film as well, I liked how this movie really pushed the thought and emotion of love. I honestly have to touch on the subject again just for this movie's sake. Rama loves his wife and daughter Sadi. He will do anything to keep them safe, even if they are programs.
I love my daughter very much. I find her to be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I went to the Frenchman to save my daughter. You do not understand.
I just have never.
Heard a program speak of love.
It is a human emotion.
No, it is a word. What matters is the connection the word implies. I see that you are in love. Can you tell me what you would give to hold on to that connection?
Anything.
Then perhaps the reason you are here is not so different than the reason I am here.
And it is very clear Trinity's actions of getting back together with Neo are led by love. When she interacts with the Merovingian, it is brought to the attention of love.
She's in love.
It is remarkable how similar the pattern of love is to the pattern of insanity.
While talking about the insanity of love, I guess you could say Z risks her life to see Link again. Or Morpheus and Niobe on that thin line of love between them with Locke on the side. But in the end, Neo giving his life was not just for the love of Trinity, but for humanity as well. I thoroughly enjoyed this overall arc of love being intermixed for this movie. It is an action and an emotion that moves all of us. We actually get a switch up in the movie for no dramatic monologues or encouraging speeches from Morpheus. Rather, we get Morpheus becoming somewhat rounded out and doing his best to back up Neo as the One, because that is his mission in life. When he first meets with the Oracle, he is very clearly upset with her, and rightly so. Same with Trinity. She too is not very pleased early on for being separated from Neo. Her emotional drive is what continues to make her badass in this trilogy. We really see Trinity shine in this movie specifically, not just in her fighting skills as usual, but honestly for her love of Neo. She believes in him and will not stop to make sure he feels he has succeeded. We also see Trinity openly express her fears.
You don't think you're coming back? I knew it the moment you said you had to leave. I could see it in your face.
I'm scared, Trin.
So am I.
We actually see that she becomes attuned to that internal part of her. Again, love. Such a true human emotion. This is a borderline moment that makes the movie, but when Trinity dies in the arms of Neo, it's literally heartbreaking.
You brought me back once. But not this time. I wish I had. That was my last thought. I wished I had one more chance to say what really mattered. To say how much I loved you. How grateful I was for every moment I was with you. You gave me my wish. Kiss me. Once more.
They're in the real world together, and his choices had left him to this destination of sacrifice and the architect being correct about Trinity dying. This time, he can't bring her back, but her life will not go in vain.
Why? Why get up? Why keep fighting?
Do you even know? Why, Mr. Anderson? Why? Why do you persist?
Because I choose to.
The unique choices of fighting styles outside of the usual martial arts was placed nicely in this film. We get giant man robots. I mean, the idea of machine versus machine was really, really cool, especially since it was lightly discussed by the counselor in Neo in Matrix 2, where they talked about how the city survives because of machines, and that these machines are keeping us alive while other machines are coming to kill us. It's interesting, isn't it, how the power to give life and the power to end it? But overall, the giant robots are the only force keeping the humans alive when the machines or sentinels attack. They are very much so a big part of holding the front gates, protecting Zion, not only by their willpower, but strategy as well, and we can clearly see that from most of the film sequences. We also can't forget Niobe to consider along with Trinity as our female leads. She certainly has a big part in this movie that in the previous one she was a little bit, but with more lines and screen time in this movie. Certainly every moment she is on the screen, she owns just as much as Trinity does, just in a pure human form. Niobe is very direct in her responses, like, for example, her leader lines.
I am the captain of this ship. I say where it has to go. And believe me, the ship will go to hell long before I let you take it anywhere.
He can take mine.
You can't do that.
Don't even think of trying to tell me what I can or cannot do with my ship after that little speech.
We also see her continued trust in Neo, and Morpheus does not stop.
2 ships, 2 directions. Sounds like Providence, doesn't it, Morpheus?
You've never believed in the one.
I still don't.
Then why are you doing this?
I believe in him.
But most of all, her ship flying skills are fantastic. It literally felt like a Han Solo movie with how much she flew and made her way to Zion.
Holy Christ, I didn't know this ship could do that.
Morpheus has to be discussed just for a moment. Earlier we mentioned he in the beginning of the film seemed lost from his path, but he continues to not lose his faith in Neo as the one. He does this by allowing himself to be separated from Neo when he insists he has to leave and go above ground. So while he is with the humans in Zion's core and he physically sees the machines stop, you can see the instant elation and victory in his face, literally vindicated in his continuous faith. Since earlier we were talking about some skills, some of the best fight scenes of this movie involving Neo are his final moments against Smith. Of course, the last fighting sequence should be against Smith. The amazing slow motion of the water and the raindrops was totally mind-blowing. Then the full-on power punches between the two of them was super dramatic. Why do I say this? Because they literally briefly stop the rain from the impacts. Such an awesome moment of this movie. This action scene, along with Merovingian club scenes, as mentioned earlier, are the best fighting moments, personally, of this film. What continued this ending of the mind-blowing moment is when Smith transformed into the Oracle. Earlier in the film, Smith basically reprogrammed her and basically connected to the mainframe.
What did you do with Sardi?
Cookies need love, like everything does.
You are a bastard.
Small side tangent, I love the crazed reactions of Smith with Oracle in those moments. The literal mental snap that occurs was so good. But back to our original discussion, the Oracle is the original of the Matrix and real world. So when Neo meets with the Source and these aliens, he gets reconnected to the Matrix through the primary source. When they collide in their battle strategies and fight out who will control the world, Smith nearly has control. Until he tried to take over Neo. He felt or even saw the Source. The Source technically starts to delete him since he is a virus of the program. Along with this destruction of Smith, Neo also sacrifices himself for the humans to live. We see that we as humans are separate from the machines not only by this sacrifice, but of our own human strength and competencies that can manifest and thrive off of love, satisfaction, and peace. We finally see the brilliant sky after all of this time of talking about it being blocked from us humans. Neo and Trinity together get a small glimpse of the sky before she dies, and he re-enters into the Matrix. They are the only living humans to experience this last moment of warmth, beauty, and peace together. This is in a way a nice notion for the two of them to experience in their last moments. Although short-lived before returning to the darkness, it is not long till we can see the sun again, but this time with the Oracle in the Matrix. Many have different views of how this movie or trilogy has ended. To be honest, a lot of speculation. The biggest moment right now is having patience to see what this newest Matrix film will build upon this already existing trilogy. The Oracle enjoys a sunrise while lightly chatting to the architect, discussing others who will be freed, which can only really mean one thing: there are others still in the Matrix, right? She does confirm to Sadi that Neo will or should return one day. We come to understand that the Matrix isn't over yet. Am I right or am I wrong? I guess we will find out shortly in the Matrix Resurrection, but you know the drill. Leave your thoughts, questions, and comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this, and we have so much planned for 2022, so we hope to see you all soon, so stay nerdy and keep binging.
I told you before, no one can see beyond a choice they don't understand. And I mean no one. It doesn't matter. It's my choice. I have mine to make, same as you have yours.